I mean, it wasn't like I wanted to inspire anybody. It was just, I had to get out of the games, man. My brothers were getting me beat up. So I became an inspiration unknowingly, but it's dope to reinsert that to people. To when people get to know me and they hear that interview and they go, "Yo, I've seen this interview that you did, man. It's really dope hearing your story." And so it's like reinserting the inspiration process for when people read the interview, they can get re-inspired, like I did for people, and then other people did for me. So it's kind of like that legacy.
Salute to the subscribers, those that live beyond the Cypher. I'm your host, Illskillz. Welcome to Beyond the Cypher with Illskillz. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. They cost you nothing. Today in the studio we have, for episode 10, perfect 10, coming through, West Coast hero, Erik Thoreau. What up, sir? How you doing now?
Well,
No doubt. So, the way I always started, and I don't even know why I say it anymore, I should just do it. I always start just where the person's history start. So my first question is always, how did you get into the break-in culture?
It's very interesting. The way I got into it was we've seen a lot of vandalism, graffiti and stuff growing up, and that was kind of like my teenage introduction to hip hop. And then we were just tagging up walls and just being kids and stuff. And then my friend said, "Hey, let's go to the fair," because I was born and raised in Fresno, California. So, hey, let's go to the Fresno fair. So we did. And I seen this kid I grew up with in elementary, and he started popping. He had a crowd around him. And I remember it specifically. He was popping to Looking for a Perfect Beat, and on Street Jams, some I forgot what album, but Street Jams, and the stuff that he was doing, he did double leg Russian kicks, and to me that blew me away. I was like, oh man, I got to know what this is. Like, what this is breaking. It came back. Like, I got to do it. And so I think for like a whole year, I was making fun of them and coming up with doing the moves that they were doing, but I was actually teaching myself how to do it. So
No doubt.
I guess I made fun of them professionally.
There you go. And how old did you say you were around this time?
Oh, must have been like 15, 16.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
about
you're
15,
talking like
16.
what was that, like 9th, 10th grade?
Yeah, it was like 10th grade. Yep.
No doubt. And what was the Fresno hip hop scene like back then?
Oh, back then we had a good hip hop scene, man. We had a lot of jams, like just random jams, people throwing little competitions here and there. Hip hop, like because popping started in Fresno with Boogaloo Sam and Popping Pete. So we had a lot of poppers, and we had a lot of competitions, people, doing their little talent shows and stuff like that. So it was good. It was growing. A lot of people developed their skills and their talents. So that was pretty good. It was big, man. It was thriving at that time. From 92, I would say, to like 2000. A lot of people in between that time and that era, they kind of, just fell off, had families and stuff.
Wow. So being from the place where popping started, what made you go to the breaking instead of just being like, well, I'm gonna do what I see more, which is the popping?
It was crazy because I had a lot of influence from this kid. Somebody had told me this kid was buzzing. His name was there. People knew about him, and he was a really dope kid. And then when I started seeing my friend Larry Gonzalez, he was doing the Russian kicks, and I was like, "Yo, that's cool." It's funny because I never taught myself that move. I never learned it. I still can't do it. But Gabby, I heard about Gabby and I wanted to see what he can do. And then once I seen what he can do, he was a big inspiration on me. He was doing like bridges, which were kind of like hollowbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that inspired me. Popping, I didn't see so much people popping like really hard and something that was so influential for me to grasp onto it. But I think breaking just kind of grabbed me by the lasso and said, okay, you're going to do this now.
Wow. And, Fresno is an interesting city, man. It's kind of a rough city to come up in. How was it coming up as a B-boy from Fresno or just in Fresno?
It was bad. It was bad, especially at that time. The way I can explain it is.
So meth is still a huge problem in this country. And that's something that you can really feel right here in Fresno, California.
When I was young, this didn't exist. Meth is so cheap, it's everywhere now. It doesn't matter who has it.
You get, in the early 90s, you get families that were so involved into gangs from each part of California, like from LA to San Francisco. Mm-hmm. Fresno smack in the middle. So you get all those people from those gangs, those rival gangs, and they come into one city, or one place, it'll be like the Central Valley, California, Fresno. So we got into a lot of fights. I've been into a lot of fights growing up because I had to defend myself. And I had two brothers who ran rival gangs. So
like
it was
blood brothers?
Yeah, blood brothers.
Oh.
My oldest brother, he was, from Red. He was a blood bulldog, what they called it.
This program contains graphic material, including offensive language. Viewer discretion is advised. Their bite is worse than their bark.
Boom, give it to me, dog. I don't care who you are, you're gonna hate us.
These hardcore killers are terrorizing Fresno, California.
Just walking up to somebody, putting a gun to their dome. It's a rush, man. Just nothing like it.
You're either with us or you're against us.
Come on, kick them.
And everyone is an enemy.
We've had death threats against our gang officers, against me.
We're bulldogs, we don't give a
Gangland.
Right.
The hometown gang. And my middle brother was a Crip growing up. And he's Korean. So he claimed Crip. So if I hung out with one of them, I got tormented by the rival gang. So I was breaking at this time, but I said, you know what, I'm going to practice. And I just started practicing. I remember going to practice and getting jumped on my way to practice.
Wow.
And I remember some guys had jumped me, and one guy had stepped on my hand because I slipped. He stepped on my hand, so my hand was really messed up from breaking. And so I had no choice but to go to practice, stay positive, go to practice, and learn how to break from my back. So my flow, it helped my flow a lot more, and I was just creating and creating. So all that built up anger gravitated for me breaking. That's all I wanted, to get my anger out and my aggression and come up with these moves, because I've been into a few battles where I wasn't aggressive enough. So I was like, I got to get that aggression. So I learned from all that, struggle and strife, being a product of Fresno.
And it's crazy that, with the story you just threw at us, you could have easily got your anger out by being a bulldog or a Crip. Your brothers are already in it. You already getting pressed by rivals. You could be like, okay, bulldogs press me today, I'm Cripping. Or Crips press me today, I'm bulldogging. I don't know if that's a term they use, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that's how it was. That's exactly how it was. Like, I remember going to practice, catching the city bus, and there was a bulldog on there, and he remembered my brother, and he says, they called
the Korean
me
brother, right? The Crip Korean brother, right?
No. The bulldog was my oldest brother. The Korean brother was,
No, I understand that part. I'm talking about the bulldog on the bus. Is he remembering you for being a Crip's brother, or is he remembering you from being a bulldog's brother?
The bulldog's brother.
Bulldog's brother. My
Yeah.
bad.
So he wanted to hang out with me. He said, "Hey, we're gonna go and what do you say? Oh, we're going to this quinceañera, and where everybody's gonna be there. All the homies gonna be there. You should go on breakdance. I'll give you $50." And I was like, "Oh, cool. I don't have no money, so." All right, let me think about it. I took his pager down because, back then we had pagers. So I took his pager number down, and he took mine down. The quinceañera was coming up in a matter of hours, and he was texting me, and I was kind of thinking, damn, there's going to be a lot of gangsters there, man. I know I'm going to know them, but right now it's not safe.
Mm-hmm.
So I went home and I got ready, and my dad said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to go to a quinceañera." He goes, "I don't think you should go." And I was like, "Why not?" He goes, "It's pretty bad. They had a drive-by shooting near that area." And I said, "All right, yeah, I won't go." I had respect for my dad. I said, "All right, I won't go." Come to find out that quinceañera got drive-by shot up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So with the quinceañera, so I'm assuming that you grew up in, like, the area you grew up in, was it a heavily Latino populated area?
Yeah,
Okay.
I grew up Mexican. My dad was Irish. My mom is Korean.
Okay.
My brother's a Crip. My oldest brother's a Bulldog. My neighborhood, yeah, it was crazy. My neighborhood I grew up in was Mexican and Black dominated.
Right.
The population was there. So I grew up multicultural.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy thing is I stood out, and I knew there was a change for me, but if I would have became a gangster, or even if I would have stayed in Fresno, I wouldn't have been here on the on the Zoom with you.
No doubt. You could have lost it at that party.
Oh, I could have lost it a lot of times. I had a lot of near death experiences being in Fresno. But,
so wait, but I don't hold on. We got to put this in perspective, man. You have a Irish father, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Korean mother,
Mm-hmm.
a Bulldog, a Crip, and a future internationally known B-boy all living in the same spot.
Yeah.
That in a Latino black neighborhood.
And yep.
Okay, now that we've put that all in perspective, go ahead, my brother. But that's so. Who were some of your early mentors and influences? Because you know how, like, when we start breaking, it takes us a while to get into our style, right? So I'm assuming that the style that we know you for, and we'll talk about those influences later, but the style that we know Bboy Erik for, I'm assuming is not the style you started with, or is it?
Oh, so yeah, check this out. So Larry, the guy that inspired me to break, or my first introduction to the resurgence of breaking in the 90s, he came to my house one time, and I had this broken down stereo. It played, it just didn't have a cover to it. We had to rig the tapes and stuff. He came to practice, and we were practicing, and everybody around me was taking off their shoes and putting helmets on. They were doing power moves, flares and windmills and 90s and head spins, and that's all they did. And I wanted to do freezes. I seen somebody do a freeze, and I was intrigued by it. And I forgot what it was. I think it was just the way my friend Gabby did a bridge. And so I seen Gabby do the bridge, and I was like, yeah, I want to do stuff like that. I want to create. So I started creating different moves in different positions. I didn't have foundation. I didn't have like a lot of up rock. My shuffled up rock was just kind of like to hurry up and get to the floor. So, but I remember telling Larry, all I want to do is focus on freezes. And that made me stand out, because a lot of people in my community, that's all they were doing was power moves. And for me, freezes and positions and creating was like my outlet of my own self identity. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. That's dope, man. And because that's definitely what I know you for. And we'll talk about how I first came into the knowledge of Bboy Erik a little bit later. But
we had a semifinal with battle utensils with like Iron Monkey and Energetic and Reveal. And they said, okay, we got a tie with you guys. We need one round from each. So I think it was Mega Man. I mean, I'm sorry. It was Iron Monkey had did that round with them. They went first, and they made me and my boy pull off a routine, and we killed it with the routine. And
For more quality content from Beyond the Cypher with Illskillz, don't forget to press the like and subscribe buttons. Let us know how we're doing down in the comment section, and to make sure that you don't miss anything from the channel, smash that notification bell. We appreciate the love and support. Peace until the next episode.